Hey guys, what's good? Welcome back to a new video. Jack here. Today, wanted to talk about learning to code. If you learn to code in your spare time, wanted to get into a bit of a how I'd go about it, the steps I'd take, how I'd structure learning, some tips and tricks, some cool tools that you can use. So yeah, let's have a chat about it all. Cool. Okay, cool. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the video, just wanted to quickly put a disclaimer out there. Important to note, I'm trying to make this video as inclusive as possible. I want to make sure it caters for people at all stages of their career and potential stage of knowledge in software development. So if you are quite new to software development, there are bits that may not make full sense to you, that's okay. I'm in the process of filming sort of intro series to development at a very high level, just to get you grounded and the basics really there for you to be able to start your journey in software development. This is sort of, I guess, more of a high level overview of how I would approach learning software development of any language, any point in your career. They're all useful tips, so yeah, bear that in mind. Cool. Okay, so first point, and I think this is probably something you can all relate to. When you are trying to find a project to work on, something that's interesting to you, something that you want to build in your spare time, something that's interesting enough to motivate you, because I know how hard it is when you've got a 9 to 5, or you're in college, you're in school, uni, whatever it is. It's really hard to motivate yourself sometimes to build these projects outside of your day-to-day. So finding something motivating can be quite challenging. I'd probably say one of my biggest tips and tricks on this would be, rather than sort of scouring the web for a list of project ideas or pieces of software you could build or recreate, obviously there are certain things out there that you may find enjoyment in those lists, and that's great. And if you do find something, I fully suggest going for it. But if you're struggling to find that inspiration, potentially struggling to come up with something new that, or even existing that you find interests you, use websites like Dribbble. There are plenty of sort of websites out there that will allow you to sort of browse through designs that designers put up onto the web for feedback and to create their own portfolios for pieces of work and different bits of software. And you can derive a lot of inspiration from these things. I think it's a useful tool set, just like you'd scroll through sort of Pinterest. Dribbble is very similar. I get a lot of value at sort of scrolling through that. And even if you're past the point of having an idea, but you're looking for inspiration on how to bring it to life, use Dribbble to get inspiration on login pages, user profile accounts, wherever it is within that process you're at. Make use of these tools on the internet to find design ideas, to give you that bit of an inspiration and to build it. So point 2, you've got an idea now. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's one that interests you outside of work. Now it's time to sort of break that down into manageable chunks and start piecing your way through that work. I think this is the most crucial step, because it's one thing having an idea, and it's another thing translating that into something that you can work towards and feel like you're progressing towards. So what I would say is, it's sort of 2 tips in one. Break it into manageable bite-sized chunks. If you, for example, have a project which is to build a login page and an account space for a user, let's break that down into, okay, I'll build a sign-in page, or even more granular than that, I'll build a form that asks for a username and a password, and there's a sign-in button. And if you create that as an object, a piece of work, what you'd call it in the industry, work item, break that down to a miniature feature, something that you can work towards to get that momentum and start feeling like you're progressing. Really useful, and sort of hand in hand with that, rather than just breaking them down in your head. Make use of the tools on the internet. There's plenty of free tools like Trello, Notion. Notion's a really good one. I've been using that lately. Things like Git project. If you're not familiar with any of these tools, drop me a comment below. I'm happy to do a video on getting into the nitty-gritty with those tools and show you how they're useful. But in short, they allow you to build a project and break down in that project a list of to-dos. I tend to use them in a Kanban style. Now that word might not mean anything to you, but if it does, great, you're ahead of the game. If not, don't worry. Kanban is just a way of working. It's quite easily understood once you see it visually, but at a high level, it's a list of to-dos, in progress and complete. You can go into different categories with this, and you can break it down more granularly into what we call swim lanes. Think of them as lanes of lists of objects, of items that you need to work on. But it's a quick, easy visual way to track progress. And I think tracking progress and being able to see how far you are away from that finish line is a valuable thing, especially when you learn to code outside of work. Okay, cool. So we've broken it down into manageable chunks. We're working towards a goal. We're progressing. We can visually see how far away we are from completing the project. We've got a bit of steam rolling now. That's the main thing. We're moving forward with it. I think another big tip at this point is, as you're progressing, get feedback, get criticism. Don't be afraid to ask friends, family, anyone, just for feedback around what you're building. They don't need to understand it fully or be able to relate to the problem you're trying to solve, but the key here is that you're bringing people into that journey, you're bringing people in asking you questions that you may not have thought about, and expect to have extremely obvious questions asked of you at this point, and you may be thankful for that when it solves you or stops you from having to deal with a potential issue that would have been bigger down the line if you'd let it get to that point. But it definitely is a lot more rewarding once you start involving other people in this journey. Don't forget, we build software for one main reason, that's to solve problems, and it's really rewarding when you get to see the thing that you built solving someone else's problem, or putting a smile on someone's face. So that's why I always recommend to get feedback, get people involved, and hopefully get some support. I think that all helps the momentum, and the key throughout all of this is just momentum. When you're trying to learn to develop, you're trying to learn a language, and not only that, you're trying to figure out how to design an app or design a product. These are all things you're juggling, all skills that you're trying to learn all at once, and it can be quite overwhelming. And the key is motivation, reasons to keep pushing on and get this project complete. So the more things we can do to stack that in your favour, the better. And before you know it, you'll have a fully fledged application or portfolio that you can show the world, and that's amazing. That's amazing. So yeah, and I think following on from that, build something you want to use. Build something that you get value from and that you genuinely want to interact with, and it's not something that you're going to build and put in a closet at the end of the day and never touch it again. A lot of people, they'll build like applications that they'll stick on their portfolio to get a job, but then never use it again. And although there's value there, you could argue it's to get you into an interview and to get you a job, and if it does that job, then great. But at the end of the day, software is a creative process. Just as much as an artist enjoys his paintings, you should enjoy the software you build, the applications you build, the problems you solve. That's why one of the first things I'd ever recommend you building is a portfolio website. And I don't mean one of these drag and drop ones that you can build on website builders that cost an arm and a leg. You can build your own portfolio website for fairly cheap. I built mine and hosted it on Amazon. I used something called an S3 bucket, which is a file store, and then on there they have something called Route 53, which is a DNS management tool. Some of these words may mean nothing to you, and that's absolutely fine, but I found ways to get I think I host my portfolio website for like 50 pence a month, 50 British pence that is, like $1 if you're in the US. It's nothing, for what it is. That's great for me. I'm completely over the moon with that. And there are ways to do it, but that's why I think build a portfolio website first, because it's something you'll continue to use, you'll continue to update, you'll continue to build a portfolio for yourself to show off, and to cherish. So yeah, build what you love to use, and yeah, you won't go far wrong. Cool. And I think finally with all of this, just don't overcomplicate it. Like I touched on, you're already doing something extremely difficult in many people's eyes. You're learning a language, you're learning this new world of software. I think it's a great thing to do. I think it'll open up endless possibilities for you. But it's important to not bite off more than you can chew, and just take each step as it comes. And as long as you're taking a step in the right direction, you will get to where you want to be. it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when at that point. And if you're persistent and hungry for it, you'll achieve it. I know you will. And yeah, that's kind of what I want this channel to be about. I want to push you guys to be able to take that step to become a developer. Not only a developer, whatever you want to do, you know, whatever it is that interests you, push for it. It's achievable. You know, I've done it myself. I feel a lot better for it, and I'd recommend it to anyone. So yeah, I hope you do the same. And yeah, I think that's about it, guys. So yeah, I sort of rounding everything up. Don't lose motivation with it. I think it's really important to stay persistent and you know, get those tasks laid out, get it all broken down into manageable chunks, and just work your way towards your goal. Don't let it overwhelm you. If it's overwhelming you, your goals are too big. You need to bring them down into smaller chunks that you can work towards. But yeah, I hope this one's been useful. If there's anything you've got further questions about, or you'd prefer a more in-depth, detailed guide on, I'm more than happy to create one. I just don't want to overwhelm information at this stage. But yeah, feel free to drop a comment, let me know. Drop a like if you can. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.